Hello, Chris from My Stamp Lady, and I'm going to show you today how I made this card. What's great about this card is I didn't have to think it all up on my own. I took a sample from the Stampin' Up! Catalog and idea book, and I kind of switched it just a tiny bit. Okay, so I'm going to show this kiss technique, which is how I got the pattern in this Upsy Daisy stamp set right there. Okay, to start with, I started with the image, and it helps to have a bold image instead of lots of lines. The bold image will show up the part of the ink that's removed. And then on my image I have the Craft ink, Cherry Cobbler ink, and I'm using the Craft because I want to emboss it. And I kind of found that I like this technique with the Craft ink. I think it's a little more dramatic. Okay, so I have my image inked up, and then I'm using the Hello Doily background stamp, and I want to kind of use this part of it here where there's more lines, and I also want to have a clean stamp. You want to start with a clean stamp. So if you're doing more than one of these, you want to clean your stamp every time. Okay, and so now when I pulled that off, you can actually see the image on the stamp that I pulled off, and you could stamp that too. But I'm going to use this, and some of the lines with the from that got pulled off should show up. Okay, so down and up. Okay, so I now have some of the texture. Okay, so let's take the clear embossing powder. You could wait for it to dry and just let it dry and use it like that. But I am going to speed it up a little bit by taking the clear embossing powder, and I like the glossy look that it gets. Okay. And then let's heat that. Now, depending on how much ink you use, you will get a different look. I must have inked this one quite a bit more, so I have a different look than I had here. And you could either redo it or go on, but I'm going to just go on with this card. Okay, I'm going to map this on a piece of Cherry Cobbler. I'll set that down there. I'll set that aside for now. Okay, now for my card base. Okay, I am using the first edition designer paper, and I'm going to take my cutter kit and rough up the edges. Okay, just go down and around. You can rough them up as much or as little as you like. And mount that onto my card front. Along the bottom edge, to add a little interest, I'm going to punch a row of holes. I'm just using the Mat Pack and the little guide that comes with the Mat Pack. And the nice thing about the guide is that I will line that one up along the bottom edge of my designer paper, and then go in and punch the holes. And this will help me or guide my holes in a line, straight line. When you're done, you have just the line of holes there. And then I took just a piece, this is from Just Add Cake, and I just roughed up the top edge and the bottom edge. And again, the top edge and the bottom edge. So I want the stripey side up. And then let's just place that down. Just put it like that. And like that. I already have the dimensionals on the back. I placed those already. Pull off the little, sure I got them all. Yep. Place that down. Then right next to my image here, I can just punch 2 holes, and in those holes I'll set some brads. The nice thing about using a card like this, where I had gotten the idea from somewhere, is that there's little details that you don't, or I don't anyway, always think about. And putting these little brads is probably not something that I would have thought to do, but I really like how it adds to the card. Okay, now for my sentiment, I used the thank you stamp that came with the stamp set, the Upsy Daisy stamp set, but I just wanted the thank you. And so I'm going to ink up thank you with my marker, my cherry cobbler marker, and that way I will eliminate the bottom part of the image. A little huff on there. Stamp that. I'm going to punch this out with my Modern Label punch. There we go. Okay, 1/16 inch punch. Let's just punch a hole there. And with the linen thread, right past there, let's see, we will go, I'm going to go around it twice. There we go. Okay, let's cut that off. Okay, I'm going to tie a knot first right here, and that way I don't have to worry about holding it while I put on my little label or my sentiment. There we go. Adjust this, move it over if I want. There we go, and then we'll just thread this up through the bottom here. And then I just tied a knot, and then I'm going to just place it where I want it. And that's how I completed this card, and I used the KISS technique. And one thing I've noticed is that the technique does turn out differently depending on how it stamps. So you can play with it, work with it, and I must use a little less ink there. If you have any questions about it, please contact me at chris@mystamplady.com. Thanks for watching.